See, Jimmy, he's got a bunch of posters.
Yeah, I know, right? I had to move locations at the last minute, so I apologize for not having my art.
I don't necessarily call it the last minute when you're 5 weeks into the process.
Am I good tonight? My signal good?
So far, so good. We got Jimmy with a window tonight.
To my soul. Good evening, weirdos, and welcome to another edition of LIVIN CRUDDY. I'm your host, Handsome Jimmy. With me always, the lovely and talented Mr. Gino Royd. Oh, he's so fresh today on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
And the sexy and scary Vinny Scrams. And tonight, our inimitable guest, all the way from Dallas, Texas. He's a road manager. He's a light guy. He does artwork. I'm sure he finds old coins in the ground. He does all kinds of crazy stuff, and he's here to share it with us, Mr. Sean Bailey.
Hey-ho. All right, guys.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome.
Yeah, right on.
All right, so this is Sean Bailey. I'll retract my roots as to where I remember you from and tell me if I'm correct. I was part of the old Supersuckers email group back in the day. Yep. I think that's where I first encountered you.
Yeah, from early on.
And so that was the one that was run by Danny Bland and Doug Neiman and those guys.
Yep. Yeah. That was like right at the advent of internet.
Yeah. That was the first thing I got into.
The early days.
Yeah, way back in it. And that feels like it was a lifetime ago already.
Oh, yeah. No, it seems ridiculously long time ago. And I remember at the time that one of the dudes, besides those guys who were like, I guess in band management, was one of the guys that went on the road with them. And that, of course, would have been you. But in more recent times, the last 10 or 20 years, discovering that you didn't just do that with the Supersuckers, but you've done that with a ton of people.
Yeah. They were the second band I actually went out and toured with. So when I first got into touring.
So you've been doing that quite a while, and you're out of Dallas?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas.
You're in Dallas right now. Okay. There was an old internet group, the Supersuckers email list or whatever, and it was a bunch of people who have stayed friends all this time. That's been about 30 years, hasn't it?
It's been, yeah, it definitely has. I think I first met all of those guys probably in 91, 92. That website stuff that we were talking about, I want to say that was like maybe 97, 98, right when we first started trying to get that website, the internet thing up and going.
You were basically the stage manager then?
I think I was already doing a little bit of tour managing with them. For a while there when I was out, Danny was out tour managing, and I was just doing merchandise, loading gear, unloading gear, driving the van, and then selling merch. And then when Danny began managing them full time and then was taking on other bands, he let me step in and tour manage after that. And then I tour managed up until I think my last tour with those guys was probably in 2000. I think Motorhead tour was our last tour that I did with them. Around 2000, I think, when I left. I was with those guys from roughly 91 until 2000.
Did you go on the road with them on everything they did at that point?
If they were full-blown tours, more than a week or a shoot up and down the West Coast, I'd go out with them. Other than that, I think Danny would kind of do weekends and things like that, the short runs with them. My
old band played a bunch of shows with them in Florida, and Danny wasn't there. He was the one that got us on the bill. You probably were there, though.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
Yeah, they were touring with Zeke.
Yep.
And you guys came through Jacksonville, Orlando, and this was like prime Evil Powers era. For me, that was the very best time.
I would have to agree with it. Yeah, absolutely. Especially, being out with Zeke.
Yeah. What a fun show that was.
Yeah, those guys are pretty badass.
Yeah, that was some great rock and roll. And every night I was just blown away by how awesome it was.
Yep.
And had no idea that was probably going to be pretty close to being the end of best part of their run. And, I mean,
right.
I don't knock anybody. They're still a band now, but it's not the same to me.
No, it definitely wasn't the same. My feelings, it kind of changed a bit after Sonny left.
So yeah, we did those shows with them. I'm trying to gather my thoughts as to who all was there. I was pretty certain that you were there. I don't know if we caught up or not, but it's a lot of that stuff is a blur. I remember the Jacksonville venue being it looked like something that had been blown out in World War II or something like that. And then
was that Jack Rabbits?
Jack Rabbits, yes, that was the place.
Yeah. I still kind of keep in touch with the promoter guy there. We'll chat every now and then. And then there'd been some tours after those Supersuckers tours that I had been back to that venue.
Okay, awesome. And I know you guys had played, and I'd seen the Supersuckers several times down in Lauderdale. It was called The Edge at that time.
Yeah.
Great big room, and they sucked at promoting shows. And you go in and see a great band, and there'd be 10 people in there. And I think the first time I saw the Supersuckers was in that exact scenario.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing
we definitely had some shows in Florida that would turn out that way. Great venues, but for promoting.
Yeah. At one point, we did a Free the West Memphis 3 show, and the Supersuckers came on board, and they were like a big promoter of it, and they sent me tons and tons of stuff. I got probably like 200 full-size Evil Powers posters, a bunch of Supersucker swag, all this shit. And I was telling Danny, I'm like, if you guys would have sent me all this stuff for your shows, we would have had, probably thousands 1,000 people each one of these damn things. So
Right. Oh yeah.
the timing of it was shitty, but
Absolutely.
so since then, I know you have done a lot of stuff with the Toadies.
Yeah, I started working with them actually in between tours with the Supersuckers. Like Supersuckers would be done, and then the Toadies would start up. So I would go out with them, and that started with them in '97.
That would have been a year or two after they broke big with the album, right? Okay.
And then beforehand, we'd always done shows with the Suckers and the Toadies, and we did that Butthole Surfers, Supersuckers, Reverend Horton Heat tour. There were always odd shows here and there that we'd bump into them.
Right.
So and then plus I'd worked their shows forever in Dallas when I was working at Trees. So we knew each other from quite a while back. It was kind of an easy transition going from the Suckers and then going over and work them.
Okay, so you worked at Trees. Now that obviously that's no small deal within itself. I mean, everybody knows. How long were you there, and what did that entail?
91 maybe. I can't really remember now. It was shortly after the Nirvana show. One of the guys that worked security there was getting ready to go on tour with Tripping Daisy and asked me if I wanted to work there and take his place. So I said, yeah, and I did. I stepped in and did security there and helped bands load in, stuff like that. I was there until 2005 when they closed. It was nice because the understanding was, hey, I'm going to go on tour. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. Just whenever you're done, come back and you can come back to work, which worked perfectly. I mean, there would be days I'd get picked up at the airport from tour and then drop right off at Trees and clock in to go to work there. So, but I eventually was head of security there.
Really?
Yeah. And then I worked, after they opened back up in 2008, I went back and worked on and off for about a year, just picked up some shifts when I wasn't working over at House of Blues.
Were you at House of Blues, LA, when they did like a private fan club party that was in Long Beach, I think, and Murder City was there. Maybe Zeke played as well. So,
yeah, I was on that tour. I think that was the only tour that Murder City was out with us.
Okay. All right. I was out there for those, and I was actually just talking to my girlfriend last night about getting accidentally stuck in South Central trying to make it down to that damn Long Beach show, not knowing my way around there. You're south of the airport, forget it. I didn't know where the hell I was.
Right.
You were hanging in Compton?
Oh yeah, we drove straight into that, and I can't believe the Supersuckers play here. This is kind of weird.
I'm sure we couldn't believe it either.
But those are some fun shows, though. I mean, that one,
great. Yeah,
the Long Beach one was like an unannounced show for the fans.
I think some of those shows may have been sponsored by Camel.
Yep.
Yeah, there was some. Wow. I knew there were some Camel shows that we had done.
I have a bunch of Camel swag. I have some. I think it was Marlboro swag as well from maybe Jacksonville or Lauderdale.
Right.
You guys are always hawking the smokes. So.
Well, the kids love smoking.
Did any of the guys in the band smoke, or was that just
Bolton smoked every now and then, and I think he was really the only one.
Oh, okay, well, makes sense that he would.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I completely forgot about the cigarette angle to that.
Oh yeah, those was back in the day. There was a lot of people doing that stuff. Crazy way to do promo stuff, get some money for a show.
Yeah.
Whether it was promoted well or not.
I actually have a stack of about 100 of those little tinfoil ashtrays.
Yeah, I've got some of those tucked away somewhere.
Kind of touching on some of those memories. And the House of Blues show, Hollywood, was literally right across the street from the Hyatt.
The Riot House.
Okay, Riot House. And that's where we stayed. And I left that at the end of the night and went and ran into Sean Lennon, and his girlfriends were in what? Cibo Matto, is that the name of the band that they were in, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were at the Supersucker show, too, which was anything goes in LA, I suppose. But for Florida kids, that was pretty wild.
I think he may have been at one of our shows in New York at one time as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he was a Suckers fan. Awesome.
Yeah.
He's got the rock and roll lineage. I'm sure that he knows what's what.
Oh, absolutely.
So Sean, are you still doing this?
Yeah, I'm since COVID started, I've been kind of SOL as far as work. Toadies were supposed to do a tour last year, and it was going to be the 25th anniversary of the first record. And it was going to be us and Natural Pussy and Reverend Horton Heat. And then COVID, just sparked up again, the second wave or third wave, whatever it was now, and pushed everything back. So now that tour is not going to start until right about the second week of September now. Before that, we just got done doing 4 days at the end of December, and we did a few days in October. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've done right now. I'm just kind of waiting. We're doing a St. Patty's Day show. Toadies are here in Dallas for the St. Patty's Day parade, which is always a big, huge deal. There's thousands and thousands of drunk people. Other than that, the only other thing I've got on the books right right now is I'm going to do merch for a couple nights in June for Flicker Stick. They're doing a couple reunion shows. And then, I worked for them for a little bit too. Right after they won the VH1 Bands on the Run thing, I went out on the road with them.
I was just saying, that's a shame about, COVID hitting a kibosh on a lot of things, because I've seen, in the past few years, like rock clubs, live music is coming back. It's getting bigger than it used to be. Kind of went away for a while, unfortunately. Hard to get rock on the radio. The live venues they're exploding everywhere now.
It's nice to see people get back on the road. For a while there, I would see all my friends, I'm like, they're posting up, hey, we're going on tour, and be like, awesome. And then like a week later, like, we're canceling the tour because someone got COVID.
Right. Yeah.
It's impossible to predict what's going on. You had like we're almost out of this deal right before Omicron.
Hopefully we're seeing the tail end of it again. I really don't know. Like I said, the Toadies, my guys are family guys now, so they're real cautious about that. They don't want to get sick. They want to take it home to the family, taking all the cautions they can. But in the same time, it's like, well, we need to get out and work. It's kind of a catch-22. Yeah. So we're aiming for September right now, and so far everything looks good.
They're talking about this universal COVID shot that will basically you can get, and it kills any version of it. I know that here in Nashville, you're talking about the clubs, Vinny. I don't think too many of the clubs survived. I mean, I know that the brewery that we played, all of our more recent hootenannies, that place is gone now. The End is difficult to get into. The Pond is not booking the usual rock stuff, from what I hear. And so you got the Spring Water. When was the last time you came through Nashville?
Oh man, it's probably been, I would say, 2 years at least. I mean, it was probably last time I was with Reverend. Okay, so 2020 maybe.
And you guys probably played the Cannery, or
I think we might have played the Cannery. Okay. Yeah.
Reverend Horton Heat always plays there. So that's like a big venue. Local bands can't even get into that room.
Coming from Baltimore, for a while, there were rock clubs everywhere, and then he disappeared just to be replaced by, just bars and hip hop clubs and dance clubs. And then the last 10 years, it's coming back. I mean, Baltimore Soundstage, they're booking major bands now, and it's a small little venue, but it's coming back. There's this big surge.
Yeah, it's going to be good once the floodgates open. I mean, everybody is so ready to get out and go and see shows. And it's great on both ends because the band gets a good crowd because everyone wants to go see them, and everyone's itching to buy merchandise.
Everything's screwy. And I swear I've gone probably 2/3 more deaf than I was before we stopped.
What?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like not being around loud stuff made me more deaf. Very weird.
It makes me more aware of tinnitus.
Right.
Well, that brings up something I was going to ask, because you probably are in more steady night after night after night after night of loud stuff. How are your ears holding it?
It would probably benefit me to go to an ear doctor to find out exactly how bad they are. I mean, being off the road for so long, I definitely noticed the tinnitus more. I'm sure I'd be prescribed some sort of hearing aid. Yeah, when I'm around the ex-wife, I talk loud apparently, and I don't notice it. The TV's always a little louder, or the music's a little louder.
I'm well past that. I'm at the point of where TV is subtitles, and I'm reading everything. And the tinnitus is so bad that it's just through the roof. And I do have hearing aids, because the first thing they do when you go to an audiologist is like, you don't know it yet, but you have hearing loss.
No, I'm well aware.
And then as soon as you say that, you're like, oh shit, I do have hearing loss. I couldn't even hear them say that. So I got the hearing aids, and the hearing aids are bare. I mean, I'd pop them in and keep them in, but I forget about them, forget to put them in. You go do stuff, or you start your day, and then it's like, oh, it's 10 o'clock, and then we can put these hearing aids in so I can watch some TV or something. When you say you have tinnitus, do you have just constant ringing or whirring, or is it reactive to like loud stuff?
No, it's a constant ringing.
Constant.
It's just, and it's always there unless I'm in a live music venue, and the music will kind of cover that. It sucks at night because it's one of those things like I have to have a fan going and blowing on me, and have something with white noise in the background, something to cover up so I can go to sleep so I don't hear. So the ringing doesn't keep me awake, which is tough because I have problems sleeping anyway. So
you're well into it then. You've got legitimate tinnitus then.
Yeah, it just gets compounded with my just not being able to sleep all the time, and just many years of being on a weird schedule, and then all of a sudden not working. It's like, well, now I'm tired, but I'm usually up, or I'm up late when I should be going to bed. It's just, you just never know now.
Yeah. The schedule gets all wacky for sure.
Yeah.
And just one more thing on that. You were saying after you've been at a gig, it's more intense, or is it the same?
It's pretty intense after a gig. Yeah. After that. And because I've got custom earplugs and I've had them forever, but when I'm at the merch booth, I can't wear them because I can't hear people talking to me. So I end up pulling them out.
Yeah. That's rough. Again, you could probably get a kind of hearing aid that will allow you to speak to those people and keep it in, and it'll block the music out, but you can hear them.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure there's some kind of crazy noise blocking technology that they do for your headphones. that they could do for hearing aids.
Yep.
That would maybe work in that capacity. It would be nice.
I would suggest going to the audiologist, tell them your tinnitus is reactive, and that's exact same thing about I need to be able to talk to people, but I don't want to have to take my earplugs out.
Right.
They have stuff for that. So, I'm working through that same stuff myself. It's kind of a drag. But the good news is that I work with a specialist who's explaining a bunch of new stuff to me, and she's saying that stem cell therapy may cure this thing.
That would be something.
And they're talking about a cure for hearing loss as well.
Wow. I would be in for a trial of that.
Yeah, I'm up for it. I mean, you get one go around with this stuff. I'm game,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always interested to find out what other people are dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Jimmy hasn't.
That's just your connection.
Complain about tinnitus.
I see my kids all the time. They wear these things 24 hours a day, probably because they don't want to hear my voice. So I'm like, maybe that's the future. Maybe everything goes through the earbuds.
The earbuds are going to start a plague of tinnitus. That is absolutely the worst thing you could do to your ears. Is those in-ear plugs, man. Exactly. Awful.
No, I definitely have a constant ringing, and I have probably 10% in this ear of what I have in this ear. It's ridiculous.
At least one ear is better than the other. I've got probably 10% left of whatever I had when I was a kid. It's pretty awful. All right, Sean, so you are now most recently a part of the Toadies team.
That's my main gig right now. That's my only gig right now, other than, peddling memorabilia.
Well, I see you are selling quite a bit of really cool poster stuff that you've obviously gathered up over the years.
Yeah, a friend of mine, her and I started a page on Facebook to show things and sell things. That's been kind of keeping me above water.
Well, I've definitely seen some cool stuff. We'll pass along some links and stuff on the podcast. So what do the Toadies have going on? It's been a long time since I've caught up with those guys.
Like I said, we're going to gear up for this tour with Reverend and Nashville Pussy. The Draculas are going to be on part of that tour, and that's Mike from Riverboat Gamblers, Zach Blair from Hagfish and Rise Against. That'll be fun because, his brother Donnie plays bass in the Toadies, so it's always nice to have those two guys together. We're going to be doing that in September, and after that, I'm hoping there's going to be some other things falling in. I know that the guys are working currently on some new stuff, so there'll be hopefully a new record before the end of the year. The singer Todd Vaden, he's working on lyrical comics. All the guys seem to be doing now.
I've always had a question about Toadies. What is their deal with the religious side of things? Is that a thing with them, or is that not?
I think a lot of that comes from Vaden's father was a preacher.
Okay.
So there's a lot of feedback coming in from his upbringing.
Okay, so he's just something he dealt with as a young guy.
Yeah.
Because I know on the Rubbernecker album,
right.
Love the album, but I always wonder what angle they were coming from with some of that, like backsliding and this and that. It was like
having to grow up in a really religious household.
That's great. And now he's touring with Nashville Pussy.
See, things do get better.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, well, maybe you can answer this one for me because a lot of people have said this over the years. Oh, it's about this, it's about that. What is Possum Kingdom really about?
You know what? I don't think anybody really knows. And for the most part, Vaden, he may have a meaning for all the songs that he writes, but he has perspective. He likes everyone to put their own meaning to it. So whatever you're getting out of it, that's what it means.
I heard Possum Kingdom was the name of a lake.
It is. There's one out just other side of Fort Worth, Possum Kingdom Lake.
Right.
I'm still going with the vampire angle for Possum Kingdom.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works for a lot of people.
So is he the only remaining Toady?
In the big main picture, yes. Mark, the drummer, he's been there the second longest. Clark has now been in the band a little bit longer than Donnie, the bass player. I think Clark came in. Clark's been there now 14 years. He came in around 96 or 97. And then Donnie came in about 13 years ago.
Okay. Now, I remember seeing them in Florida, but they had the girl bass player.
Yeah, Lisa, who was one of the originals.
Okay. And then they had the guitar player that did a lot of crazy, like dive bomby strat stuff. Is that the same guy?
It depends on what year it was.
They had just started touring Rubberneck.
If it was just the beginning of that, it was probably Daryl. He was one of the original guitar players because they used to have two guitar players, and one of which was a girl. She used to play guitar for the band as well.
I've seen them since then, but it was such a packed house that I exited in. It was near the same experience as what I remember in Lauderdale. I think the Lauderdale thing was the exact band that played that on that record.
Mm-hmm.
Everything sounded exactly like what they recorded at that point.
To me, they still sound that way. They just keep getting better.
Well, they play in a weird time structure, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing you definitely get when you first see them is the structure of the songs.
Right.
Yeah, very herky.
Yeah, it's unusual, and a lot of people don't even notice it. But if you tell them to count along with it, you can't count on anything that they play.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool. And I would love to catch up with them again. It's just one of those things where I've seen them a couple times and then missed them more recent years.
Yeah, well, like I said, keep your eyes open for September. We're supposed to be doing hopefully a full tour.
And you did done stuff with the Reverend Horton Heat, right?
I worked with him 2001 to about 2003, and then I left and went out and worked with Bowling for Soup for a handful of years, and I came back to the Reverend 2015 maybe, up until COVID.
Right. Now, the big question that I have is about the most well-known Texas band of all, and that would be the God of All Texas. What is up with that dude?
With who?
The guy that wears little American flag jockstrap and swings his dick around while
Can you quack? Can you quack like a duck?
you got to know who I'm talking about, right?
I have no idea.
Oh, boy.
It's the most disturbing thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Crap.
It will change your life.
Texas.
It's something Gene found, I think. I never saw it before. You showed it to me. So
Oh.
it's disturbing. I don't think there was any official body that christened him with that title.
I don't remember a day proclaiming
Right.
God of all Texas.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
There it is.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do remember this guy now.
I think that might be Dave Grohl on drums.
I think this one says hit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about this
Good
song.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that's great. I like that.
They have a mosh pit going here.
What the
Oh, they got something going on there.
That's a hell of a. Oh, that's lovely.
think it's
Maybe where
Charlotte
COVID
Tolia.
started.
Sure, it's not the one that I'm thinking. I guess they took that one down where he's shaking his junk.
Oh, I thought this was America.
I thought that guy
Yeah.
was a true Texas hero, and all these Texans.
I do vaguely remember coming across that on YouTube.
He did not go out on tour with the Reverend Horton Heat.
Not yet, anyway.
All right, man. So I've mostly been catching up with your stuff, with your metal detecting, and I feel like you're pulling up some really cool stuff.
If I can get into a good area where there's been a little history or whatnot, yeah, I've been kind of lucky, and I've been boosting up a thing on my page on Facebook, kind of putting a shout out to anyone that knows of any old properties or things like that they own or in the family that wouldn't mind me coming and digging on. Other than that, I usually just kind of drive around, normally the poorer side of town, and look for the empty, vacant lots and go through there and see what I can find.
So you're mostly staying in the Dallas area.
For right now, yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've been out of state doing it. But I mean, there are times where we'll meet up with a bunch of people and, we've done stuff for the Chisholm Trail up in Kansas. And, I've been out to Virginia a few times doing Civil War battlefields and stuff on big organized hunts.
We've got loads of Civil War battlefields.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are usually the ones you want to get on. They're just a little harder because if it's a designated battlefield and it's protected, you can't get on it. But a lot of times there's a lot of private landowners that have property like that sometimes will allow people to go out there and dig, and a lot of times probably won't because they get hit up for it all the time. I know some of the farmers in Virginia, the hunt organizers, they charge a fee to go out and do these hunts, and they find a landowner that agrees to it. And so these farmers make a pretty good chunk of change for a couple weekends out of the year having all these people hunt out there. They pay $250 a hunt, $500 a hunt, and you've got 300, 400 people out there hunting. The landowner kind of rakes it in pretty good. They're more open to allow people out and hunt, but they're going to collect on it.
So thinking of the Civil War, I would imagine Virginia and Pennsylvania, places like that are the big. And we had a lot of stuff here. I think it was like later Civil War in Tennessee.
Right.
But I do know I found stuff just sitting on the ground here before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends on where you go and how you're looking. I mean, a lot of times you'll find stuff get washed right up from under the ground, be right on top.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if how it works, but I think the difference between here and some of those other places that Tennessee is about 99% limestone. You have about 6 inches of dirt and then it's just a rock underneath that.
Right.
That might make it a little easier to find stuff. I'm not sure. Or maybe.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And Texas is kind of the same way. I mean, there's a lot of places where a lot of rock right under the dirt, or just in the summertime, the dirt turns to rock. It's just so dry and hard that it might as well be cement.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of sometimes limits your hunting until maybe, like fall or spring or after a big rain, stuff like that.
You never go out into West Texas?
I haven't yet, but I do have friends out that way that do have property that eventually I'll get out there to kind of poke around.
And what would you expect to find different out there than back east?
You're probably going to find a lot of the same stuff, not maybe a lot of war type activity, but you'll find things maybe like from, presence of Indians out there and the settlers coming out there, old wagon and parts, stuff like that, homestead parts, pieces.
Right.
Every now and then you hope for something personal that, actually belonged to somebody that they held every day, it was important to them.
Go find the money.
Yeah.
What are some of the coolest things you've found so far?
I've got a lot of Civil War bullets that I've dug. Probably in the last couple of years, there's a spot that I go to over in Southeast Dallas that I've gotten, a few Chinese cash coins, which were normally, they're brought over by the Chinese immigrants that came over to work on the railroads. And so the lot that I'd found these coins in, the gentleman that owned that lot and lived there had a wagon service that he used to move people around the Dallas area. If they were moving or relocating, he would do that. And he also worked for the railroad. So he had a connection with these immigrant Chinese workers. And then there's also some railroad things that I found that related to him, baggage tags and stuff for the old Santa Fe railway and pieces and parts to train cars, just weird pieces like, hinges for the train toilets or the windows that would go up and down, the hinges that they put on those.
Oh, okay. Do you have a favorite find that you've had so far?
Oh, man, I would say the Chinese coins, because those were kind of some of the ones on my bucket list that I wanted to find, and got lucky enough and found 3 of them on the same lot. Those coins were in use for so long. The oldest one of those that I've got is 1736.
Really?
Yeah, when they use those coins, they use them forever. Pretty cool early piece of Texas history.
Yeah.
And then dog tags. I like finding early dog tags as well. So that's always cool too.
How much Civil War happened in Texas?
There wasn't a whole lot, but not much around North Texas. It'd be more south and east as you're going out towards Louisiana. There's a lot more going off over that way.
What do you think about magnet fishing?
I've got a magnet that I've tried it a couple times with little success, but I find it very interesting. So, I need to find the right place to go do it.
What have you caught doing that? Aside from
a lot of
robot fish.
Yeah, nothing. There's nothing good I've caught yet on that. I think
no?
that's a fork. I got a fork once.
Fork.
What fork do you know? Actually, I have a magnet fishing kit and I've never used it, but I know a couple spots that are possibly haven't been. I mean, Tennessee is just so backwoods here.
The good spot to hit is always under bridges, because people go over bridges, they toss shit right over the bridge into the water. So
do you know where?
I watch a lot of those videos, man. The people that find the most stuff are usually under bridges. I mean, they find a lot of guns.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, they pull.
I have way too many forks.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see anything that sticks to that thing. I'm interested to see at this point.
Yeah, because you never know what's going to be down there. So you might get lucky. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's not usually what you find. Just the thrill of being out there.
Jimmy, have you ever been down to Fly, Tennessee? Do you know where that is?
No, where's that? I don't even know. I'm not allowed there. Where south?
You're not allowed yet. It's down there where that place they have called Santa Fe, down Columbia, that area.
Oh, no, I don't go that way.
They have a lot of old ruined porn down there, houses that just collapsed into the woods and stuff. There's like little waterfalls and little canals and creeks and stuff like that. And I don't think those people there would have any idea about magnet fishing. So when it warms up, that's my plan, is to go down there. I think we'll find out pretty quick if people have already hit it or not. So
yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, you'll find some stuff at one point and it'll be dry for a while. And then, you get a good rain to blow some stuff back in there. So, they get a big, little flood coming through there. It carries things from upstream. I've had that happen quite a bit on a creek I used to hunt at a park here that no one ever really hit. And I would go down there and pull coins out of it. So, I'd come home, I'd pull 100 coins a time out of, going to the creek on one trip.
Really?
And then eventually it just kind of dried up, got a big rain, and it would blow stuff back up from further the creek,
Well, I lived in Florida. I used to see that. And I had the very old school metal detector. And I remember finding things like keys and like parts of a flashlight or, stuff that was like, if you went down there in the morning, you'd see like 17 old men with just like old, nut hugger bathing suit on, just going up and down the thing. I know what you're saying. You could come back after storm and it would be a whole fresh deal, and they would have
absolutely.
But Gino, how about like going magnet fishing at you might find luck at a wishing well. You just might.
Yeah, try that.
You do, or if you stumble across a well in the woods that an old homestead used to use, drop it down there and see what happens.
Yeah. There are a lot of these old houses that have the old bucket wells still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but you'd have to go in someone's yard. What do you mean magnet?
What's this witchcraft?
I'll fill you full of buckshot.
Yeah, they'll shoot you here. I'm sure it's like Texas. They'll shoot you if you come on their property here in Tennessee.
Oh,
you'll get met with a gun.
They're just waiting for a reason to shoot somebody.
Oh,
there is a lot of wide open here where, I mean, I've for years gone out in photography on old, stuff that died into the woods and stuff like that. And there's nobody. And I've found all kind of crazy stuff out there as well. And especially down in that Fly area. That's some old kind of abandoned area.
Now, is that anywhere near where the Evil Dead cabin was? Or
Evil Dead is up in Morristown. I'm sure somebody's probably hit that with metal detectors, but if you're ever in the area, Sean, you want to go to Evil Dead, I can show you where that is.
That'd be cool. Yeah, absolutely. Just to see it.
They say that there's a time capsule buried somewhere there.
From the film?
From the film. They stuck it in the ground. And I've seen where they've been digging for it there, but I don't know if they ever found it or not. Sean, I know that you probably have at least one or two rock and roll tales that you have amassed over the years.
Anything outlandish?
For whatever reason, there was a show with the Supersuckers when we were out with Tenderloin. I want to say it was at the new Soma in San Diego. It was a good show, but at the end of the night, the promoter was kind of a bit of a dick, and we had some problems knocking heads on money. And after we finally got that all settled and we got out of there, I had the bus driver pull the bus up to the front door of the club and then dump the bog on the bus. So we dumped all the piss right through the front door of the venue and then left.
Wow.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the band.
Yeah. And there have been times I've had to go to settle, have the promoter pull a gun on us and not pay us. Silly things like that, especially when I was out with the Dwarves. That happened a few times. There would be guns pulled and promoters hiding
What is it with the
cocaine.
Dwarves that there's always some trouble with those guys?
Yeah, I saw a lot of shit. Yeah, there was some horrific tour things going on.
What years were you with them? And you're saying this is early.
I started with them 1990. It was right after I kind of quit school out in Texas Tech in Lubbock. I was working at a club here in town called Slip Disc. It was punk rock dump. It was a squat. I lived there for free because I was booking the road shows. Right. So I booked Dwarves. I booked them a show in Lubbock, and then I booked them the next night in Dallas. And then after that night, they were just like, "Hey, you want to go through Texas with us and sell T-shirts?" So I did that. And then the next time we went on tour, they called me, and then I went on a full tour with them. So
did you do the tour they did with Elvis Hitler?
Yeah, I did.
Did you go to the Florida shows then?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we played one of that place called the Ambassador Bar in Deerfield Beach with Elvis Hitler and the Dwarves.
Yep. Yeah, that tour. I want to say maybe that tour, and I can't remember if Elvis Hitler was on this tour or not. Where was the Milk Bar at? It was a Florida venue.
Yeah, that's up north.
Because supposedly Sublime opened that show, and if I remember that.
No, I think that was up Gainesville or someplace like that.
Yeah. So I think that was and that was the night Vag jumped off the stage at the end of the set and then kicked some girl in the head and knocked her out. So we had to clear out real quick before the cops got there.
Yes. So it looks like then that we were actually at a same gig much earlier than we thought, because the show we played, this would have been like 92, 91, 92 at the when they played with Elvis. And I remember that version of the Dwarves I wouldn't even recognize as the same band that's around now.
Yeah, because Danny in the band at that point.
I don't know, was he in
91, 92? I think that's when Danny joined the band. He was straight out of rehab.
That would be even stranger if Danny was with them then, because I have discussed this gig with him and he never mentioned anything about it.
Yeah, because at the end of towards the end of that run with the next tour that I went out with those guys, He Who wasn't on the tour, I don't believe, and that's when Nick Oliveri came in playing guitar.
Oh, okay.
And nobody told me who he was, and we were doing a show at Spanky's in Riverside. I'm doing merch, and I look at the stage, and I just see this long-haired dude up there with a guitar, like he just stole it. He was getting ready to run off with it. So I ran up to the stage, and I grabbed it in one hand and hit him with the other, and we got into a big fist fight on stage that ended the show. And they're like, no, he's playing, he's our guitar tech tonight. And I didn't know who the fuck he was. And then like the next tour, like, hey, this is our new guitar player, Nick Oliveri. We're going to call him Rex Everything. And we just kind of looked at each other and just laughed. And we're just like, wait, I know you. We got into a fight on stage.
That's hilarious.
And that's how him and I met and been friends ever since.
That's awesome.
So what is the deal with He Who? Why is it that he can't play a lot of shows?
I don't know the reason now. I know the reason back in the day was, the same old thing. Had a girlfriend, wanted to stay home, and I think he was kind of maybe digging his job at that point, which is odd to say because he worked with troubled children. He wanted to spend time at home, so that's when the whole he got killed in Philadelphia in a knife fight in an alley,
right?
And that's when that whole thing came out. And
I heard several stories. One was that he was killed. Another one that he wasn't allowed in certain states.
Right.
He wasn't allowed in Canada.
Yep.
Doing it so long.
I was quite proud of that one. He was just eating that up. I mean, we would sit and talk about that, how funny it was that, people from all over the country were like sending flowers, calling Sub Pop, just all these, I'm sorry cards, and Sub Pop was just pissed.
Well, we're friends with Mark Diamond. He's a super guy. He's
a good dude.
We do a lot of horror movie stuff, and he's big into that. So we've talked to him about all that stuff. Plus, he always manages to get us on their show whenever they come to Nashville. So
very nice.
We're very appreciative of that as well.
Yeah.
So, it's very cool that we were able to establish that we probably got to hang out even in the early '90s.
Sure, yeah.
I remember the Elvis Hitler show. They played with amps that were about as big as my cell phone. And the Dwarves came out and played no more than 8 minutes. Well, our music lyric quiz is as follows. We have a couple songs, and I'll read a couple lines from a song, and then all we need you to do is identify the song and the subsequent line to the song. The good news is you've got these two guys here, Jimmy with the crazy hair, Vinny with the skeletons. They can be your lifeline. They're on Team Sean. They can help you out with all of this stuff.
For you. Good luck.
That said, they're fucking terrible at this. So
yeah, well, there we go.
That's what keeps it interesting. I got 3 of each. We'll start with the music. Right. This is all rock and roll stuff, too.
Let's do it.
All right. The first set of lyrics are, the air's electric, sparking power. I'm getting hotter by the hour. I set my sights and then home in. What is the next line? Name of the band, name of the song.
Man, I don't know. It just sounds really familiar, but I can't play it. Man. James, what do you think?
It's something, it's there. It's in my head.
The air's electric, sparking power. I'm getting hotter by the hour. I set my sights and then home in.
Sounds like something Paul Stanley would write.
Yeah, sure does.
What about you, Vinny?
What about you, Vince?
It's going to upset me once I hear it.
Why do you make these so hard?
These are actually very easy ones.
Can you sing it like the original artist?
It sounds very familiar.
It always comes to this.
As close as possible to the original artist.
The air's electric, sparking power. I'm getting hotter by the hour. I set my sights and then home in. The joint starts flaming when I begin. Judas Priest, Living After Midnight.
No.
I'm assuming you guys know this, right?
Yes.
And granted, it's not even important if you get any of these right. It's just the process. All right, the next one is, I'm driving in my car now, anticipating fun. I'm driving right up to you, babe. I guess that you couldn't see. What's the next line? Name of the band, name of the song.
Under My Wheels, Alice Cooper.
That is it. Well, there you go. Now you've turned it right around.
Yes.
Somewhere, somehow, somebody must have kicked you around some. Who knows? Maybe you were kidnapped. What's the next line? Name of the band, name of the song.
Tied up, taken away, and held for ransom.
It's Tom Petty, right?
Jimmy just jumping the gun on the lifelines here.
Just trying to help.
Team effort going here. So you've turned it around 2-1 on the music ones. Let's move on to the movie quote quiz. I think these are probably equally as easy or difficult. The first one is a classic. The line is, you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Who said that and what was the movie?
Anyone chiming in?
We got Vinny in the black and Jimmy in the wavy hair.
Damn it.
Well, wouldn't that be in multiple movies? I've heard that a lot.
Well, pick one.
The original, the famous.
The Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
It is The Godfather. I'll give it, but it is Godfather 2.
It's Pacino saying it's somebody.
All very confusing.
Got The Godfather.
Woo!
This one's a classic, but the line is not the most popular quote from it, but it is a movie that is often quoted. The quote is, it's such a fine line between stupid and, who said that and what is the movie?
Again.
He was looking like he had it. Either that or he's on Google right now. It's such a fine line between stupid and
Debbie Does Dallas?
It is actually David St. Hubbins and Spinal Tap.
Damn it.
All right, so we're down to the last one of them. You got 3 of 5 so far, so you're gonna determine whether you break even or whether you come out on top. The quote is 2 words: anytime, anywhere. This is a famous movie. We've quoted this movie a bunch over the last couple of years we've been doing this show.
Oh, anytime, great. Yeah, my first time on the show. Am I supposed to know this?
I don't pay attention to you guys. Anytime, anywhere. It's a conspicuous scene from this movie, which comes from 1976.
Come on, Vincent. What do you say?
I don't know.
Anytime, anywhere. Anytime.
Those are 4 words that are said in every freaking movie. I mean,
yeah. Pick a movie.
Anytime, anywhere. Because the word's not even.
I'll give you a hint. The guy is talking about doing his job, and somebody asks him if he will work on a certain part of town at a certain time, and he says, anytime, anywhere.
Repo Man.
76.
76, yeah.
Oh, 76? Oh, sorry.
No, it wouldn't be The French Connection. No, that's earlier than that. Damn.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't know.
I think if you mashed up The French Connection and Repo Man, you might have something closer to this movie. What's halfway between those 2 movies?
Dirty Harry?
It's Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro.
Oh, that guy.
When he's just, and they're asking him where he'll go to drive.
Anytime, anywhere.
Well, if you say that at the end of every night, I got to wipe the cum and blow it off the back seat.
Yeah. You went 3 of 6. You got half of them right. That's pretty good.
I'm not taking off my pants.
No, you're not.
Jimmy
You
will.
should leave them on.
Well, I mean, they're already off.
Yeah. By the time we get done with this, you probably will have your pants off. So. Do you remember back in the day, they had that thing called Mad Libs?
Mm-hmm.
We do our own version of that. It's called Nad Libs because we're as juvenile as you can possibly get. We've written a story for you. We'll ask you a couple word types, then we'll build the story around you. It takes a few minutes to go through these words. Then I pass the story over to Jimmy and he reeds it back.
All right.
There's quite a few words in this story. I got completely carried away with this one trying to make
God.
it. So, I apologize in advance for that. It'll take a few minutes to go through this, but I think the story will be funny. I need a year in the future, any year in the future.
2025.
A job position can be any job.
Jack Shack Mopper.
This is already going places. A band, any band, doesn't matter who it is. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be bad. They could just be a band you want to have in the story.
Angel.
Angel, awesome. We have not used Angel in any of these.
No,
A second band.
Let's do Boston.
don't read ahead.
I'm not going to read ahead. I'm going to need 3 separate cities.
Three separate cities. Okay. Des Moines, St. Louis, and Poughkeepsie.
Des Moines. What was the second one again?
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis.
St. Louis. And what was the last one?
Poughkeepsie.
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 Isn't that where Jimmy's from? Poughkeepsie? I need an adjective.
Cloudy.
A car model of any year.
Dodge Dart.
Dodge Dart.
Dart.
A body part.
Toe.
1 syllable verb.
Fart.
You say fart?
Yeah.
We'll do that.
No,
Yeah,
I
we'll go with
I
fart.
said fart.
Yeah, fart's fine. I need a mythical creature.
Mythical creature. Chupacabra.
Are you in the land of Chupacabra?
We're close. Yeah.
I thought those were real.
I'm sure they are.
My worldview is shattered.
I need a state in the U.S.
Rhode Island.
No reading ahead.
I know if I keep reading ahead, it'll take a number, any number.
13.
An adjective,
Flowery.
a number,
Yeah.
any number.
3.
A noun,
Dog.
car part, any car part.
Clutch.
Your favorite soft drink.
Mountain Dew.
A letter.
F.
A terrible metal song.
Come on, feel the noise.
That is a terrible metal
There
song.
are no terrible metal songs.
The original
Sure.
I'll go with.
Right. It's a good glam rock song, bad metal song.
Yeah.
A type of fish.
Tilapia.
A musical instrument.
Oboe.
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 O-E,
O-B-O-E. Oboe.
The other one would be
Oboe.
oh bow.
I knew that B-O-W didn't look right.
Oh bow to you.
Oboe.
A musician that we would know.
Like personally?
No, like a famous rock and roller or something.
Mitch Ryder.
He's fast on the draw with these two. We do this and we get people that are like, let me think about this for like 17 minutes.
Sean's like, I've been waiting for this. Mitch Ryder.
Oh, finally. The Detroit Wheels will get theirs.
Another mythical creature.
Sasquatch.
A type of lizard.
Jesus.
That still works. Something that gets you high.
Jesus.
Nitrous.
Nitrous.
Mhm.
A number.
2.
Another number.
80.
A body part.
Elbow.
You played the ebo with his elbow. Bodily fluid.
Bodily fluid. Plasma.
Classy.
A body part.
Tongue.
Conway.
An adjective that is used to describe something gross.
Bellicose.
B-E-L-I-C-O-S-E. Bellicose.
Something gross.
Diarrhea.
Some people think it's gross, but it's really good on toast.
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
An amount of money.
$3.
Type of drink.
Type of drink.
Mm-hmm.
Sarsaparilla.
Very Texas.
We know we're talking to somebody in Texas when they say sex.
Yeah.
Another word for getting trashed.
Drunk.
A city, any city.
Dallas.
Something gross.
Phlegm.
Ugh.
A band that we know.
Oh.
Somebody that we would know their name.
White Lion.
Yeah, there you go.
We know what you've been listening to.
Yeah, right?
What the hell?
What I've been doing.
A famous member of a 70s band.
Mick Fleetwood.
It's all coming together.
Yes.
Oh, God.
A bad word.
Fuck.
An insulting name.
Asshole.
Another bad word.
Cunt.
Now that's a very good word.
That's my favorite.
It is a good one.
An outer space word. Just something that has to do with outer space.
Planetary.
Adjective.
Moist.
Gee, I hope it goes with cunt. I really do.
Moist.
A city.
City.
Tucson. A body part.
Epiglottis.
A fruit, plural.
Kumquat.
A Greek or Norse god.
Thor.
A body part.
Uvula.
Color.
Color red.
A bodily orifice.
Nostril.
Now, do you remember what the singer from the band Angel's name was?
I do not know his name. I know he had fabulous hair, though.
Any number. We'll find out that guy's name.
Any number.
You want me to look it up?
You said 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you look that up, Jimmy?
I will. Keep
A
doing your
bone
thing.
in the body. Any bone in the body.
Humorous.
A shitty 70s tune.
A shitty one. Fool for the City. Oh, that's a good one.
It's not bad. A lady's clothing item.
Slip.
A lady's body part.
Ankle.
A female rock star.
Joan Jett.
A sexy female actress.
Daryl Hannah.
A sexy male actor of any era.
Kirk Douglas.
I know I should not be reading this. A sexy male musician.
Liberace.
Oh. It's only the second time I've heard that name today.
Well, Vinny was looking him up earlier.
You mean Jim Neighbors?
Really
Powerful
bad, really
voice.
bad 80s new wave band.
Surf Punks.
And finally, a town in West Texas.
Lubbock.
Do you know what that guy's name, Jimmy?
Frank Domino, is that who we're talking about? It's pretty good, Gene. You're a master editor.
Let me know when you get it.
Oh,
Did
but
you
look,
get it?
yeah, I got it. But look, I got this weird glare in my glass.
Would you like me to invert the text?
No, I got. Maybe I don't need them because I just blew the
Before you
text
read this,
up.
what the actual fuck is going on with your hair, man?
What do you mean?
That thing, yeah, what is that?
What thing? This thing? I don't know.
Yeah, what do you
You
call
don't
that?
like it? You don't like it?
Got the Simply Red look. Hey, Tears for Fears, you're going on tour?
Yeah, no,
Sean takes the big stage. The year was 2025, and Sean was pulling duty as a Jack Shack mopper for the band Angel, who happened to be touring with Boston. They were hitting all the spots. They had dates in Des Moines, as well as St. Louis, and even all the way to Poughkeepsie. This was the tour of tours. Angel was on the road supporting their most recent album, the cloudy Dodge Dart that ate my toe. They had a huge hit in the latest streaming service, Fartify, called The Chupacabra Went Down to Rhode Island. The song reached number 13 on the Billboard charts, and all the kids demanded to see the band live. Sean knew there were several hours before the show, so he took out his metal detector and headed down to the flowery part of town. Sean's pastime of finding old treasure buried deep in the soil had already netted him $3 on eBay. He found some old dogs, a couple of clutches, and a vast assortment of Mountain Dew bottles. It was a very lucrative hobby. Sean found himself detecting across a particularly unusual slab of earth. As soon as he started, his detector erupted with beeps and various robot sounds. He had the metal detector hooked up to his eye. What the fuck is this?
yeah, he had it hooked up to his F phone.
What is that?
I asked him a letter, so that would be his phone. His F phone.
He had the metal detector hooked up to his F phone, which could play the song Come On Feel the Noise every time it had detected something huge and valuable. Holy tilapia! I think I may have hit the mother lode. Sean broke ground and started digging, and soon realized this would be no normal discovery. What he had unearthed was an oboe. But it wasn't just any instrument. It was the Holy Grail oboe once owned by Mitch Ryder. Sean was very excited. He packed the instrument into his vehicle and headed back to the venue where the night's show would take place. On the trip back, Sean noticed a strange glow emanating from the back seat of the car where the oboe was. He also started feeling very dizzy and was concerned when he looked in the rearview mirror and didn't recognize himself. Something very strange was happening. He noticed Sasquatch sitting in the trees.
He noticed the Sasquatch sitting.
All right, hold on. I had a freaking notification pop up and block my view. He noticed Sasquatch sitting in the trees that dotted the roadside and flying Jesuses ripping through the air.
zipping through the air.
Zipping. He noticed Sasquatch sitting in the trees that dotted the roadside and flying Jesuses zipping through the air. Man, that Mountain Dew must have been spiked with nitrous. Because I'm seeing all kinds of weird stuff. Sean diverted and went back to the hotel to sleep it off. He had 2 hours before the show, so he slept for 80 hours. When he woke, he felt much better outside of a small elbow ache and being slightly perturbed by how much plasma was seeping from his tongue. He wiped it off and headed to the show. A little later, Sean arrived at the venue, the Bellicose Diarrhea. It was $3 sarsaparilla at the club, and people were already getting drunk. The opening band, the Dallas Phlegms, played, and they were not very good. They used to be called White Lion, but after they were sued by Mick Fleetwood, they changed their moniker and were almost immediately forgotten. It was Sean's night to announce Angel from the stage. Sean grabbed the microphone and shouted, "How the fuck y'all assholes doing tonight? Are y'all ready to rock your cunt holes into the planetary?" Please welcome the moistest band in the land, all the way from Tucson. Put your epiglottises together and welcome Angel. The crowd went wild. Fireworks went off. Lighters were held high. Electricity was in the air. The band went straight into a rocking rendition of Cloudy, Dodge Dart That Ate My Toe, and the crowd was going totally kumquats. Sean quickly scooted off to the side of the stage, as he had done so often. Many times over the years, these tours don't manage themselves. I gotta make sure shit gets done right. He was in manager mode. Just then, Sean felt something mythical overtake him. It was as if Thor had grabbed him by the uvula and would not let go. His eyes turned red and he felt lightning bolts from his nostrils. This was something entirely new, and it felt good. He was no longer working for the band. He was the band. Sean stomped back to the stage and shoved Frank Domino right off the edge. He fell 11 feet to the ground and broke both his legs. His humerus was protruding from his body, but Sean cared not. He knew the crowd needed to be rocked, and that band wasn't going to cut it. The oboe appeared from nowhere, and Sean started rocking like no living human had ever seen. He went into a wild-ass rendition of Fool for the City. Nobody had ever been rocked this hard. Ladies tore off their slips and shook their ankles at Sean. He was undeterred and kept on rocking, tune after tune. He rocked so hard the rest of the band couldn't keep up. One by one, they fell over, totally worn out by the devastating rock force that Sean was bringing. By that point, otherworldly storm clouds filled the venue. They rumbled and spit fire and electricity throughout the room. The clouds parted above the stage, revealing a divine walkway extending down from the celestial heaven. The music stopped to a silent pause. A sexy, womanly figure emerged and descended. Was it Joan Jett? No. Was it Daryl Hannah? No. Dressed in a sleek black nettings and black high-heeled pumps, a leopard-patterned scarf, a sleek and sensuous silk sun hat that slung low to reveal just a glimpse of those sexy peepers, curves in all the right places and a few in the wrong ones for good measure. The divine mink stopped for a moment and drew a puff of her thin, long coat, planted an 18-inch cigarette holder, and parted her seductive lips to speak. Hello, Sean. I'm Jamais Lemaire, but you might know me as Joan Mustang. And your rocking summoned me from afar. Come with me to my boudoir. You have earned a spot amongst my favorite bedfellows. Join the ranks of Kirk Douglas and Liberace and enjoy the sweet offerings of my tender, loving loins for centuries to come. Sean pondered the offer for a minute, placed the oboe on the ground, and stepped over the bodies of the conquered rock fans and exited out the nearest door without saying a word to anyone. Nobody has seen or spoken to Sean ever since, though it is rumored that he occasionally smacks the keys for a pretty spiffy surf punk's cover band at a chicken wings joint in Lubbock, Texas. He's saving up for a new metal detector. God bless Sean Bailey. Jamais Lemaire. Jamais Lemaire.
Sorry.
It's French for Jimmy's mom.
Jimmy's mom gets around.
God bless Sean Bailey.
We compliment your mom.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that was deep, Gene. That was dense.
Yeah, it was that.
That was
Well, you never know. You want to tell a story, and then you've got like 7 or 8 paragraphs. You're like, I can't finish the story in one more paragraph, so you have to go all.
That's right. Takes. You're right. You're absolutely right.
But in reality, Sean wrote the story because I would have never have come up with the oboe or Mick Fleetwood or the Dallas Flems.
But somehow my mother in French ended up in there. So there's that. I don't think he did that, did he?
All right. So I want to check with Jimmy to see if he's going to do Jimmy's CRUDDY Cuisine for the second show in a row.
Of course. I'm making babka like crazy lately.
What is babka anyway?
It's a delicious bread.
Oh, it's bread, huh? It looked like a pork chop with cinnamon in it.
That was not a pork chop. That was bread.
I thought it was a pork chop.
That's why you don't get to try it.
What about Vinny's Monster Minute?
Sure. Hope you're hungry. Go to the clip.
Big deal, guys. I can cook too.
It's ready. Number 209 on my list.
My understanding is that McNasty does have something that he's already proud of. I have no idea what it is, but include that in.
The following is a dramatization. The names and places have been changed to protect the innocent. Holy shit! This is an outrage! Your chocolate is all up in my peanut butter! An outrage indeed, you son of a bitch! Your peanut butter's all up in my chocolate! Furthermore, your Iron Maiden is all up in my monkeys! Your monkeys is all up in my Iron Maiden! You don't know what you're fucking talking about, dude! This means war! War, I tell you! Get your Iron Maiden out of my monkeys! This week's earworm is about the fine art of the mashup. I'll post a link on the Freakout page as I normally do. Have fun with it. Cheers, everybody.
What happens next?
What happens next is we ask you if you have anything that you'd like to promote or anything coming up that you want to talk about.
Tour in September.
Right.
You go to the Toadies website to check that out. Or if you feel like helping a broke road dog for now, go to the show poster addiction page on Facebook.
That's where people need to go to buy your poster collection, right?
Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff on there and putting stuff up usually daily.
Okay. Well,
digging through the archives.
I can attest to that there's a lot of cool stuff up there, and whoever stumbles across this podcast needs to go buy some stuff.
Yeah, there's 30 plus years of hoarding. Well, I'm not a hoarder. I'm an archivist.
Collecting.
I'm not a hoarder.
Collector,
Right?
yeah.
Collecting.
All right, weirdos, that's it for this week. I want to thank, as always, our perennial favorite, Mr. Gino Royd, super sexy Vincenzo, and our guests. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Mr. Sean Bailey. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Right on.
Thanks for catching us up, all the rock and roll stuff, and telling us about the metal detecting.
Yep, all the nerd stuff.
All the nerd stuff.
Good stuff.
That's what we like here.
Yep.
Why do you make these so hard?